let's go ahead and get started. Thank you to everyone who is here and to joining us online. This is the Digital Academy Directors meeting for September 11th, 2024. For this meeting today, all the resources can be found within the slides. So if you would like to join me on those slides, I'm going to pin it to our chat bar there too. That way everybody can grab it as they need it. And as always, I put links to everything that we're sharing inside. So it's a nice little jumping off point. If you're watching the recording after, I'll make sure to put those in the notes section of the video on YouTube. All right. So to get started, make sure that you're logging your attendance. It is a fairly simple form. It looks just like this. All you have to do is say what district you're from and your first name and your last name, and then that's going to get you a certificate for being here with us today. Again, nothing new. It's just nice to kind of talk through those things to get us all back in the mode of our meetings. So for today, welcome and reminders, kind of a welcome back to the year since it's our first meeting of the year. We'll do some share time and some questions for anybody that has them. We'll do a little bit of vendor content. Honestly, there's not a whole lot there. And then we'll talk a little bit through some show and tell. So that's our plan for today. And we will get started with our welcome and reminder. So welcome, old friends and new. My name is Matthew Mays. I'm a digital innovation consultant here at the Stark County ESC. I think everybody here with us so far, we're all returning champions. But I do want to take note of the sheet that is linked at the bottom of this slide. Since it is the new year and since we want to stay current, I really appreciate if everybody who, again, is either with us or who might be watching this later would update their portion of the spreadsheet. That just kind of tells me, that we have all the current information, including the offerings that are in the K column. That way, if another district has a question, I can look down the list and see, oh, this district is using this as well. And maybe we can connect you to answer any questions. So you'll notice that the A column has no check boxes in it. If you would just check the box next to your name as you're completing that for your district. Again, that's just a listing of basically who we have as active members as a part of this group. All right. On this tab, you'll also find my, or on this slide rather, you'll also find my contact information should you need anything from me or from any of our friends here at the ESC or at Spark. For all of the resources that we have available, we have a very handy website that will help you through all of those different things. And that can be found here by clicking the link. And I need to update this. I did notice that just now, so I'll update this with our current schedule. But it has everything you might need, including a full meeting archive, slide decks of video recordings. That way you can follow along with us, as well as resource guides for all of the products that I know to be used within our network. I try to keep that as updated as I possibly can. So definitely make sure that you're checking out that website for all kinds of good things. That's a really nice first place to look should you have questions or anything too. All right, here is that updated schedule that I promised you there a moment ago. Today is our first meeting. That's Wednesday, September 11th. Our next one will be in November, and then you'll see that we're taking a couple months off. We'll do December and January. Those are typically pretty slow times. So we'll come back in February and then wrap things up for the year in April. All of our meetings will be at 1 o'clock. And should you need any of the resources, like I said, just head over to the website and you'll see the schedule along with any other items from these meetings. One thing that I want to continue is the Digital Academy of Vendors series. So if there are companies that you would like to hear from or that you would like for me to bring in, I would love to do that for you all. I just need to know who you want to talk to or who you want to have present. In the past, we've had a couple different groups come in, and those are all highlighted here on our website underneath the vendor series tab. Last year, we heard from ASU Prep. We also heard from Adventum, we heard from Go React, and then Schools PLP in the year prior to. So I try to keep good notes on what's happening in those meetings. That way, if you can't attend, you can at least and follow along with those notes. But I would love to hear from you all in terms of who you would like to speak to or who you would like to hear from. So if you have any of those ideas, feel free to email them to me. Otherwise, I just kind of go around and see who we haven't spoken to in a while and try to put people. Right. Okay, just for share time for me to stop talking and time for you to start sharing. So hopefully you came here for a reason, that you have something that you'd like to share, or that you have some type of question that you would like to ask the rest of the group. So I will stop talking and allow you all to speak and to share if you have anything.
So our big news for this year is that we got a new building. All the schools are together in one building, so we are officially Waynedale Local Schools now. So
nice.
I changed it on the one sheet. But
nice. How's that going with infrastructure and connectivity and all that? All good?
Yeah, things are going pretty well.
Good.
But yeah, all the elementaries and everything are together in one building.
Nice. How are people doing with the kindergarten and the older kids all being together in the same building?
The building is huge, so we hardly ever see the really little kids. And the really little ones get food taken down to them, so I think they pretty much just stay down there.
Cool. Very cool. Good for you guys. And glad to hear it. That's good stuff.
But then with e-learning, we're trying Excellus for the first time this year, and that's going pretty well. I was a little surprised how quickly some kids are flying through it. But I emailed some other people who have been using it, and they said that it just varies from one class to another. Some are like that. Some take longer than others.
Yeah, we did some work with Excellus when I first came here in 2020, and that was kind of all that I got, where some classes and courses are more robust than others. And there's not really a predictive way to figure out which one it is, but hopefully you can take some notes on it and figure out, where you might need a boost in, certain courses or whatnot. But so far, transition's been good.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
We're still under our trial period. They're letting us try it out for a year for free.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta love that.
Yeah.
And so you're comparing that to what we had previously with like the bus courses.
Yeah, we had been using Florida Virtual or Buzz, and then with so many people dropping it, it got to be too expensive to continue with Buzz.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems to be working.
Cool. I'm saying keep us updated throughout the year too, and so we'd love to hear, especially years long free preview and really dig into it. That's good. Cool. Very cool. Anybody else have anything you want to share?
I could share a little bit.
Yeah.
From Louisville. We got a new EMIS coordinator, and I'm learning that half the codes are wrong and everything. So I have to sit down and meet, and I don't know if any other schools have done any of the coding and how they're putting everything, because we're using Ingenuity and our own teachers, and so it's just hard to half the courses are like coded different than the other courses. So going through revamping all of that, and it's just kind of complicated, actually.
Boy, yeah, I do not envy that position that you are trying to figure all of that out.
I just got a spreadsheet with 5 pages, and she's like, I highlighted all the ones that I just don't think are right. Well, it's 4 pages of it, so I'm like, yay. Other than that, I'm retiring, and so they're going to be looking for someone to be running a digital academy after this school year.
Nice, good for you.
So, well, if anybody out there is interested, it's hard to find somebody to do this job.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Good for you, though. Congratulations on your retirement. We will celebrate with you when we get to that April meeting.
That sounds good.
Yeah. I do also want to let you know too, here at Spark, we hired a new EMIS contact person.
Oh,
That,
good. Who's that?
yeah, that's Matt Miller. So it's just matt.miller@apps.spark.org, and I can put that into our notes here too.
Thank you, because I might need to contact him because I'm gonna meet with the new EMIS person, and that might be a real good resource.
Yeah, so Matt is a pro. I worked with him previously in Perry, and then he went to Stowe to be their EMIS person, and we were lucky enough to lure him down here to work with all of our districts. So yeah, if you need anything, feel free to reach out to him, and I'm sure he'll be able to help you as best as he possibly can.
Thank you.
Sure.
Karen, you don't look old enough to retire.
My 34th year.
Nice, good for
That's
you.
wonderful.
Good for you.
Thanks.
All right. Any problems with practice? Any other questions? Anythings?
The first year, I mean, from last year, things are going great. I mean,
Knock on your desk. Yeah.
we weeded out a lot of kids that are doing it for wrong reasons, and kids that are online have to be there 2 to 3 days a week and are just not in and out of the park.
Good.
We're just cracking down on test security, which is always difficult, but yeah, I know I keep waiting for maybe.
Knock on wood. You better knock on that desk. Keep on going. That's great to hear, though. Can I ask? You said that you were able to weed out the kids that weren't there for the right reasons. What all did the district do to make sure that the kids who needed to be there were actually there, and the other kids are back in other classrooms?
Well, our new administration has basically, we had a lot of kids that when they went online, we'd never see them. And that it wasn't a good thing during COVID, and it isn't now either.
Sure.
And they're required to choose 2 days that are consistent throughout the year, a minimum of 2 days that they have to report to the lab. And that way we physically see them, we can touch base, we can help in any manner, and if they're allowed to stay at home and be online solely if they have a medical excuse. So, for instance, I have a little girl who's on dialysis, that's acceptable.
Sure.
But they've actually told kids that say they don't want to come to school. There are lots of other digital academies out there. But we need you here because we care about you and want to make sure you're doing this the way it should be done. And there's still some socialization, they're able to eat lunch with the kids and do different activities. They're on an IEP, special ed teachers will come over and check in on them and meet with them so their goals are met. So yeah, I've really been pleased with. It's nice to see these kids.
Yeah. Except I appreciate you sharing all that. That's the thing that is lost in the digital academy basis. Like, yes, it's great that it's accessible for the kids wherever they may need to be. But also you lose that, person to person interaction in most cases too. So it's nice to have that schedule built in and sticking to it.
The kids that have medical excuses, they're still required to meet twice a week through a Google Meet. So we're still physically able to see them and make sure everything's okay. And if they have questions, then I love that.
Good. So I'm glad that the administrators see the connection and have made that push. That's awesome. Knock on wood one more time just for fun. Yeah, there you go. All right. All right. So I do have a share that I'm including in this portion, and it's something that I think impacts not just the thing that we do, but it is literally going to impact every school district in the state, and I think it's really important to talk about. So this is Senate Bill 29. The full title is Regards Education Records and Student Data Privacy, which is something that we've talked about in these meetings before. There are two different resources on the next few slides that I want to call your attention to. The first of which is the actual legislation itself. And so if you want to read more about the actual bill that is set to become, or that is set to take effect on October 24th, you can do that there. And then I also have a separate link that is from Honesty for Ohio Education that kind of boils it down to kind of its bullet points, and that's what we're going to talk about here. So most of the time we talk about, products and updates and all these, fun, interesting things, but this is something that I think is really important that we need to talk about here too. So there are a couple different clauses within that we need to take note of. The first of which says by August 1st of each school year, each school district must notify parents and students of any curriculum, testing, or assessment technology provider contract affecting a student's education records. Not too crazy. I think that's probably a good thing. I like that part of the law that is going to take effect. But that definitely impacts us and all the students that we are working with, because we're dealing with, several of these companies that are going to have a hold of our students' data. So definitely want to be mindful of that. It has an August 1st date, which has obviously passed, but we're looking for clarification to see if that means, do we need to do this on August 20th or on October 24th this first year, or is that something that we can kind of hold off on until next school year? The second part, or the second clause that I wanted to highlight here, I think is really, really big. It says it names technology features that school districts and technology providers cannot electronically access or monitor, with certain exceptions. So disallowed features would include things like location tracking features of a school issued device, audio or visual receiving, transmitting, or recording feature of a school issued device, and student interactions with a school issued device, including but not limited to keystrokes and web browsing activity. This one is the big reason why I wanted to talk about it in this meeting today, because I know a lot of us have programs, have software on our computers that allow us to see what our kids are doing. And, even not just specific to digital academies, but, we're looking at things like the keystroke trackers, which we put in place to try and help protect our kids, right? We want to know when, they're saying things that may be like self-harm, or we want to know when, certain words are triggered on the keystroke logger. So I wanted to bring this one up specifically because we don't really know what this means. The people who were in charge of writing this bill and pushing it through to law have since said oh, well, we didn't really think that it would involve that, or we didn't realize that it would also include this, because the statements that are made here directly contradict other things that we have to put in, like those different filters and whatnot to have compliant internet for our kids. So we'll hold off on that one. And then the third piece to this that I think is really interesting, it says, if a school district or technology provider legally interacts with a school issued device, it must, within 72 hours of access, notify the student or that student's parent and provide a written description of the interaction, including which features of the device were accessed and a description of the threat, if there are any. So you can have keystroke loggers and web browsing, activity monitors and whatnot, but every 72 hours, you need to notify the students or the parents. That is how this is written. It is not feasible in any possible way. Just the idea that a district would have somebody doing this.
That's a full-time job.
Exactly. So yes, it's a lot. Jill, we're really glad to see you. If you look at the bottom, you'll see two resources that will speak to the three different points that we were just talking to. And then the presentation should be pinned for you to be able to access here too. But if you have big questions like, how can we ensure that we are providing SIPA compliant internet? And does the LMS or does my digital academy product fall under this? Or what do you mean I can't monitor keystroke for web browsing activity? And like, do we actually have to monitor these things, every 3 days and email these parents 72 hours, on the dot? We have meetings to help you try to make sense of all this. So right now, literally as we speak, Tyler, who's the head here of Spark, is in a meeting with some lawyers, with other IPC directors, with other really important people from across the state to hammer out some answers. And we are all coming together on Friday. That would be the 13th. So Friday the 13th for a virtual call in the normal network manager stream. So if you want to jump onto that, he is going to share the answers and the findings that he was given. So hopefully the meeting that he is currently in, those are providing some answers for him. And hopefully we have some direction there. So I don't want you to hit the panic button or like I said, there are a lot of questions that I think are really, really, really important that we just don't have the answers to. So be in a holding pattern for the moment, but I want you to know that this is a thing that is out there that is set to take effect on October 11th or October 24th, I'm sorry. And that there are a bunch of other meetings that are here to help you, like network managers and like the Leading for Learning meeting, which I'm a part of. Myself, two other extremely bright individuals from across the state, we get together once a month. It's the third Wednesday. And we talk about the issues, the things that are impacting all of Ohio schools. So on these calls, we bring in people from DEW, from ETLA, from Info Ohio, from all of the major organizations throughout the state. And we bring everybody together that we were all sharing this stuff rather than just keeping things in individual silos. So if you would like to attend that, we have some friends from ETLA who have been very involved with not just the legislation, but also with student data privacy, who are going to be speaking at that meeting on Wednesday, September 18th at 9 a.m. That's a purely virtual call. So if you would like to jump on, we will hopefully have some more answers there, as well as, like I said, Friday the 13th, Tyler's going to be sharing too. Are there any questions or initial things that you would like to? Who introduced it? I'll show you. It's this gentleman right here, Stephen A. Huffman. He's from Tip City. So direct all of your emails, questions, concerns to him. But yeah, it is one of those that I think they push through to. I understand the need, and I agree that we need to be mindful of our students' data and protect theirs as well as, we want to protect our own. It's the things that are involved here is a lot.
Is that just for kids who are working online, or is that including kids who are sitting in a classroom?
Yep.
So
Every student K-12 in a school
or
district.
something would be illegal, to
Not
monitor.
illegal. You just have to, yeah. So unless you plan on monitoring and emailing every 72 hours, then the way it is written, then you could not share. I don't know necessarily that that's the intent behind the law, because I don't think that's what they're aiming for, but that's how they wrote it. And so.
I wonder if you could just put a note on the webpage, on the school's webpage, that says student internet use will be monitored while they're at school.
So funny you should say that. Missouri has a similar bill or law now, and that was a loophole, but they're just written, like I said, it's similar, it's not the same. And for them, that would work. But for us, we're still looking for further clarification on that. So
Yeah.
really
They will
important.
keep us updated.
Yeah. So definitely, like I said, we're having that call on Friday, and then I'm going to push out to this group, and then to my other group as well, basically our findings and how we can best help our kids through this. Okay. I know it's a little bit of a downer, especially compared to what we normally share, but it is, in my opinion, too important not to talk about. So hopefully that gets on your radar. Hopefully you can take that back and communicate it to, the administrative teams in your district, and we can do what's best for kids. All right, vendor updates. As always for these meetings, I send out emails to the different vendors basically saying, hey, we're having a meeting. Do you have anything that you would like to share or that you would like for our districts to be mindful of? I didn't hear back from anybody, which is no big deal. But if you notice next to each of the company names, there's a little link. And that's going to take you to their blog for most of them, which basically just kind of walk you through the new updates that have come, or in the case here, I selected Admentum, and that's going to show you some of the features that are coming soon. So I have those updates for you, even though, like I said, we haven't heard from anybody. And then, hopefully that can just kind of help you keep track of things. But is there any big updates that anybody has noticed since our last meeting there in May?
Are you still using, just out of curiosity, Buzz and Florida Virtual? And
So to my knowledge, there are still 2 districts that are in.
Okay.
So
they're just paying the
bigger piece of the pie.
price. Okay.
Yep, bigger piece of the pie. Should you have any questions on your use or what else is available, please feel free to email me. If you have something based on like pricing, make sure that you reach out to John Pusateri, the treasurer at Sport, and we'll make sure that we're getting everybody's situation. All right. So show and tell time. Does anybody have anything that they have come across, things that they've seen, something that they want to share with the group?
I can't believe how big AI has gotten since you introduced us to Chat GPT, and that was less than a year ago.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I mean, it just. Wow.
Yeah, so as a whole, it's global impact. We're going on about 2 years. It's gotten pretty crazy. The tools are super duper powerful, and they're getting better and they're getting smarter. The one that I have been using more than others is called Magic School. I think we've talked about that in these meetings previously. But the thing that I really like about Magic School is that they keep innovating and they keep creating new tools and kind of new ways to look at the AI. And so I pulled that up here. I wanted to show you a few of the new ones that they just put in. The first of which is an image generator. So this is directly connected to Adobe Express. So you can say, I want a picture of Abraham Lincoln riding a dinosaur while eating a slice of pizza, and it'll create that image for you. A new one that they just put out, I think it was like last week, is presentation generator. So you say, I want a slide deck on the annexation of Puerto Rico, and it'll make that slide deck with pictures and everything for you, which is really, really cool. But they have a little something for every teacher task that you could possibly think of. And those are all included on these little mini tools. So think of each one as like a direct pathway to telling the AI exactly what you want. So instead of starting from scratch, starting from scratch within something like ChatGPT or within Gemini, which is Google's product, this is kind of a way to cut to the chase. And it's a nice little fill in the blank sort of experience rather than yeah. So one of the other things I like about Magic School is it has this exemplar. So you could say, I want a 5th grade joke and I want it to be about grammar, and then ask it to generate, and then it will create different jokes for you. So when did the grammar teacher go to the beach? because she wanted to work on her stand, which so obviously it might be funny to a fifth grade class. So you can work on it and edit from there. The one thing that I'm finding is like I love Magic School. I'll sing its praises till the end of time. I think it's fantastic. But they have started to really like hammer down on the free trials that you get when you first sign up. And so once your free trial window is up, then you basically go to like a more stripped down version. And so some people are migrating away from Magic School because it's like what we just did there. It would generate an answer for you, then it stops. Whereas like in ChatGPT and Gemini, in Claude and all these other ones, it's conversational where I can keep asking it questions and keep pulling. I can do that here in Magic School because you'll see I'm using the plus version. So I basically have full access to all of that. But in the free version, they stop you at like, it generates the thing and then you're done. But what I think is important is that like, I'm not putting all of my eggs in the Magic School basket. I like that there are other products and I like the use of all of them, like in synergy, like working together and kind of learning off of each other. And so when you generate something like, you know, those jokes and you want to continue it, or if it's a lesson plan and you're looking to modify it in some way, you can literally paste all of the content, put it into something like Gemini and say, give me 6 alternate activities for this lesson plan and it'll create it for you. So, so like I said, I like to use all of them kind of in concert together, and that way you're really maximizing the available tools. But yeah, AI is still popping off. It'll stuff happen its moment.
Does Magic School communicate with Google Classroom? Like, can you export a quiz that you produced in Magic School and like import it right into Google Classroom, or do you have to?
Yes and no. It has integrations, but most of those exporting features are in the Plus version. If I'm not mistaken, the free version will still let you hit like a copy button. But the Plus version is like the single click, you know, auto goes into other items. Now, if you're using something like Gemini, Gemini is integrated with your other Google products too. So you can export items straight out into Gmail or into a Google Doc. So whatever you generate in the thing, you hit the button and it pops out. So that's a really nice feature where like I found myself using Gemini more than I have ChatGPT. And they're 601, like I mean, it's all, they're pretty much the same. In terms of like what is being generated, but I really like that it's, you know, another piece of that really nice Google, you know, for education workspace. So
Is Gemini free or?
yeah, it's free.
Okay, because I saw some sort of, like with the Google one, like their price structures and then certain level included Gemini. So I was kind of, because I thought it was free, but I wondered what that was about.
Yeah, it will be free for your account. Now there are certain I don't want to call them plus features, but there are always things that are additive the higher you go up the those different levels, the different Google levels. But your ability to, you know, generate it to talk to, it just basically has to be turned on by like your administrative dashboard. Because I think you can toggle it on or off. You know, your domains devices can be turned off to access Gemini, or like your account, not your devices, but your accounts. And I've seen districts do that, like on student devices, but not on teacher devices. So like putting them in the different buckets.
Yeah.
But that's mostly how people are working with it. Any other items people want to share? Things that they've seen, cool stuff that has come across their desks? All right, I have a couple others that I want to share. And I see Jill has a comment in here too. She said our district has been pushing us to use brisk teaching and has paid for the district to have the paid version. That's awesome. So Brisk, I think, is very similar to Magic School, if I'm not mistaken, where they have like the little meeting tools and whatnot too. So
Yeah,
very
it
cool.
seems like it. I haven't used it obviously as much as the classroom teachers, but I know that we've had several sessions in our PDs there at the end of the year last year where they were having the teachers start to utilize it. And it was part of the PGP that they're using with our writing revolution this year with the teachers.
Cool. That's awesome. I'm saying for them to invest the very liberal capital behind that too is really cool. I'm glad that you all get to have that paid version.
Risk.
Yeah.
BRISK.
Yep. This guy. I'll share this tab. So how I know of it is as the extension, where it's just basically like working alongside the things that you're already doing. You can call it up through your little extension button up here at the top. But it also has all of the really nice little individual tools that that you can work with and pull into your items. You can see here, it's, helping you do a lot of those same things that you saw there on Magic School too. So to create lesson plans, to create quizzes, those kinds of things. What I want to emphasize though is that, like, for me, the AI tools are really an efficiency play. So it is trying to buy more time for your educators to actually like talk with kids, like person to person in real life. The important thing is, we are not okay with our kids just copying and pasting work and calling it their own. And so as educators, we shouldn't do that either. So yes, it's creating all these really wonderful things for us, but we also have to put our own spin on it, put things into our own voice. Like just by having it get us started, it's already saving us tons of time. We can feed it things that we've done in the past and have it modify it and, bring it into the new school year, with kind of a renewed life, which I think is really cool. But again, like for me, I want it so that I can actually talk to kids again and not just have them, being drones on their computer, creating these lessons, creating content with AI gives me that time back that I can use to actually to speak with kids in real life. So really cool. Thank you, John. I appreciate you sharing about Brisk. I'll pop that into our resources here too. Okay, I have a couple of different things that I've included here too. I think you've heard me speak previously about Common Sense Media. I think Common Sense is a great place to go. They have lots of really wonderful resources that are literally ready to go for you as the educator. And I wanted to include a couple of those here for you, especially with last night's debate, with the election coming up here in November, before we will see each other again. I wanted you to have some of those. So the first of which is the power of words, which I think is a really great little mini lesson here. It basically, gives you all of the steps that you would need to execute this activity. And it goes step by step, including a video in here. It gives you all the questions that you need to ask and all the different takeaways in there too. So I really like that one. Some other ones that I've linked to you, for you are things like finding credible news sources, Internet Investigator checklist, which I think is really fun. This is built into a larger lesson on news or fake news or information pollution. But I really like this checklist up here at the top. So Internet Investigator checklist, read it closely, analyze the source, and look for corroboration or, where else you may be able to find, that same story being told. So I thought that was really clever, the way that was kind of listed out. So I wanted to include that there. They also have kind of like a walkthrough experience, like a choose your own adventure of sorts in the digital dilemmas. And they also have that quick digital citizenship lessons for K-12, so that can help all of our kids. So can't say enough nice things about Common Sense Media. I think they do a really wonderful job across the board. As you're looking at AI literacy, we had that conversation here just a moment ago. There is a webinar that is going to be held on Wednesday, September 18th from 4 to 5. And this is being presented by Sue Foss, and she's the Director of Education at Common Sense. So I wanted to include that here for you as well. This is on supporting educators and teaching AI digital citizenship and ethics. So yes, we know our kids are on these things, but how can we help them to value the things that they are creating and not just looking for the easy way out using those AI tools. And then the last thing that I wanted to share with you for the resources area happened upon this Tuesday Tech Tips little bank here, which I think is really fun. This is from Jessica R. Adams. And if you scroll down, you'll see all of the different tech tips that she has pushed out. Really easy, digestible, easy to share out. And then you can see from the previous weeks that she's just including them so that way people can always go back in time to see the previous things that were shared out. So a really nice area to find some new things to share out with others, learn a few things that maybe you had not seen previously, but you'll see there are 79 total slides. So a lot to learn there within her slide deck. So I wanted to share that out with you. I thought that was really cool. Good job by Jessica Adams. All right. Other things for our meetings, I would love to hear from you. If you say things like, hey, I would love to learn more about X, then I will go and research that and bring that into our meetings, make these even more robust. So if there's something you would like to talk about, let me know. We can bring that as part of these meetings as well. Okay. Any other questions? Anything before we wrap things up? All right, we showed it here a little bit ago. This is our meeting schedule for the year. I will not see you again until November 13th. We just went dark because somebody was moving. There we go. We won't see you again until November 13th at 1 o'clock. So if you have any questions or if you need anything in the meantime, please feel free to reach out. And other than that, I would really appreciate you all being here. Appreciate you joining online. Look for the resources to hit our website here shortly. And then I will produce this video out and post that for you to read as a video. Right? Thanks. Thank you, everybody. We will see you again in November.